Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you, and today I am going to talk to you about running budget steroid cycles, performance enhancing drug cycles, etc. And look, this is one of those topics that you're gonna offend people if you say things a certain way or come across a certain way, and frankly, I don't give a shit. I'm just giving you basic facts, and I'll do my best to be as soothing as I can for people that are going to take it the wrong way, or I'm not. I'm just going to give it to you like it is because that's the only way I know how to do it. I just want to thank everybody for all of the support. I cannot thank you enough. It's been wonderful. We're growing rapidly. If you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe, comment. Any interaction with the channel is absolutely awesome. It's appreciated, and it's helping us to grow. All right, so let's talk about running budget steroid cycles and, SARM cycles, peptide cycles, whatever that may be. And we're talking about you probably not being in a great financial state to run a cycle. You really want to do it, but you can't buy this, you can't buy that. And then the questions will start to come. Do I really need this? Do I really need that? Can I get away without using this? Could I maybe skimp out on this? And what I tell people is, you don't need my permission. Because I get these questions a lot. Can I? And when you ask me, can I? And this is not like a cock answer. This is just a factual answer. If I ask you, can I do this? You're going to be thinking, well, shit, you don't need my permission. You can do whatever you want. The question would be, should you? Should you do this? And if you're asking me, should you? 99.9% of the time, I'm going to tell you no. And it's not because you have to be a millionaire to run a cycle. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be super well off. But you have to have a little bit of like disposable, expendable income. And when I say that, I mean extra money that you can afford to have to spend a little bit extra than you're used to. There's a lot of different things that go into a cycle. It's not just buy a vial of test and like an oral or something else you're running or a bunch of SARMs bottles. I mean, that's the basis of the cycle. Like the bare bones just to get you on the cycle. And it depends on what you're running. You may need far less, like on a peptide cycle or a SARM cycle where you don't have like to worry about a ton of like toxicity or estrogen conversion, beefed up post-cycle therapies, perhaps like, especially on an intense steroid cycle, like a major diet one way or another where you got to, you have to be able to kind of set aside money for a lot of extra food, and you need to be eating better food. You got to make sure that you got a good gym membership. You got to have needles, and you should be having some sterilization products around you. And when you start saying, well, can I just not use this, or can I get away with not using that? I mean, you can try. I am not ever going to sit here and tell people to skimp out on things and do things the wrong way or put you in a position where I know that the likelihood of you enduring or encountering a problem is a lot higher. When I teach you things, I feel, I shouldn't say it's my job because this is not my job, but as a coach and as a teacher, it is my job. So I just kind of convey that into my YouTube channel and to help people out on things that I teach all my clients, things that I teach like kids that I speak to about responsibility. It all ties into this because when you're doing things reckless, or you're trying to take shortcuts often lead to a longer path or a more difficult road when you attempt to take them. And they may work at the start, but it always catches up to you. There really aren't shortcuts. I mean, you can say there are, and there's, you could come up with certain scenarios where, yeah, that's a shortcut. But in general in life, what you're going to find is that the shortcuts often just end up making things harder and longer and more difficult. And especially when you're running a cycle, it's so delicate because, we're talking about things that can really, really hurt you. And I hate people that over-exaggerate and make up the shit. I'm just simply telling you the facts here. Just like the scientific, the real person-on-person facts. You get these meatheads that'll tell people they're weak and they're pussies if they don't do this and don't do that, but they're stupid. Like they're literally lacking brain cells. They fried. Okay? You don't have to do these things, run massive amounts, do this or do that. But I am telling you, if you try to take shortcuts, short out on things that you need, especially when it comes to your post-cycle therapy and your on-cycle ancillaries. And if you're new to this, ancillaries is like your supports, okay? So like your aromatase inhibitors, things like that. Your on-cycle support, like your all-in-one protectants. You don't want to skimp out on these. You don't want to go, oh, I'm just not going to run an aromatase inhibitor with highly estrogenic compounds. You're not going to go, oh, I should just leave that on my PCT, or oh, that doesn't need to be in there, or you can get away without that because so-and-so said this. I mean, like I said, everybody's different. You can do whatever that you like and whatever that you want, but I just don't think that it is wise or smart to ever go into a cycle and trying to attempt to make it a budget cycle, okay? And have the possibility of skimping out on things. Or I get the people that'll say, well, do you think it's okay if I buy a little bit now and then buy a little bit in a few months? I don't recommend that. I don't. For me, what I always tell people is you should not start a cycle until you can have everything on hand, because you don't know something. You could, like, I've seen people spill bottles of SARMs, or people crack vials, or somebody stole them, or their wife finds it and throws it out, or shit, the dog ate it. I don't know. That's stuff that I hear. Regardless, stuff happens. Also, if you do that, places that you go might be out of stock. There could be delays. There could be this. There could be that. You should always have everything on hand. And it alleviates a lot of possible bad scenarios for you down the line. And like I said, all I try to do here is cover all the bases and keep it real with you. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you, oh, it's fucking, you should only run 100 milligrams of this or it's going to kill you or this or that. You need to understand and know the possibilities when you're using these beforehand, before you watch. You need to read enough and understand, the risk versus reward and what could possibly come across in these types of things. I'm certainly not sitting here encouraging anyone to take steroids, but I also want to make sure, because I know that there's plenty of people that are gunning no matter what I or anybody else says. The bigger problem is that people don't know what they're doing, get the wrong information, don't go about things the right way. So I try to help in that regard. I'm not sitting here condoning it, recommending it, any of that. But I am going to teach people the right way to do it so they don't hurt themselves. All right, and I have a huge passion for everything athletic, from training to diets to the science to the chemistry to the easiest shit to the hardest shit to the most difficult things, the studies. That's just something that I've always been obsessed with since I was in middle school, when I really started to care about my body and my diet and everything, and it just led to one thing to another, and it just kind of built into just my entire life. And so I just try to convey things the best that I can and try to not be a doucher about it, but also try to be, very, very apparent and deliberate on teaching you the right way to do things. You don't need somebody up here lecturing you, grilling you in this, but you do need somebody to keep it real that is not just a regular old, I just want power and tell people what to do. I'm just keeping it as real as I can. And it is not smart in any way, shape, or form to go into any of this if you just know that you don't have extra income to put along with it. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be a millionaire. Just make sure that you've got enough extra and you can do things properly. So that's it. That being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.